All right. Well, got to dive my sidewinder this weekend. Sunday, I dove with Mike, who unfortunately had to end the dive as soon as we started. So I did a solo dive, and bummer for Mike, but I had forgotten how cool it was to dive solo in the rebreather. Looking at my hoses here, I kind of really screwed up. I got to do a better job of tucking in my hoses. That is not a good look at all. But bummer for Mike that he had a failure of his BOV, and he had a leak in his dry suit, and so he had to bail. But diving in the rebreather, it's been a while since I'd done a solo dive in the rebreather, and I had forgotten that fish aren't afraid of the rebreather because the rebreather makes hardly any noise. And so a lot of the fish didn't scurry away. And at the end of this video, I kind of hung out with a really good sized stingray, and it was checking me out. It literally would poke his head up, was like, "Hey, what is that thing?" And it did 3 circles around me before it took off and lost interest in me. Now, I'm not sure if it's this time of year, but during today's dive, and I did a dive yesterday with David, he was in open circuit, so it was a little bit of a different dive compared to Sunday. But both days we saw a lot of a lot of sheep crab. Here's one just kind of chilling. Oh, this is a cool octopus. I have not seen an octopus in a long time, so it was really, really a neat find to see this little octopus hanging out with David on Saturday. Of course, a lot of lobster. There's just a ton of lobster everywhere, all up and down the wall. So on Saturday with David, we went south, and Sunday I did a solo dive pretty much a little north. Look at this banded guitarfish. What a beautiful fish. We had seen 2 of them. I don't think I included the other guy. It was a little bit of a smaller dude, but this one was beautiful. And here we have another sheep crab chilling in the secret garden. Actually, on both days, I ended up just south of the hotel. Saturday we took off from the parking lot. Sunday we took off from the parking lot, and Saturday we took off from Payacitas Point. And both days we ended up just south of the launch ramp. The other thing we saw were a ton of adult horn shark. Here's one. I think in this video I probably have 6 or 7 horn shark, really good sized ones. Always very beautiful. This lobster took up this hole. This is a tiny little hole, and it's actually a very small lobster. And it was like, "This is my little hole, leave me alone." Another sheep crab. The sheep crab were very active. They were mostly walking around, and here's one just kind of cruising. Again, it wasn't afraid of me, I think, because there's no sound, so it was just like, hey, just making my way. Here is this anchor that is sitting at 130 feet, just, west of the secret garden. I'm checking out the depth, 129 feet. And there's this anchor. And it doesn't go all the way up to the surface. It just kind of goes up. Next time I see this anchor line, I'm going to go to the top of it to see at what depth it stops. Little rockfish. Another sheep crab chilling. Maybe it's mating season. Mating season for the sheep crab, and mating season for the horn shark. Because there were a lot of them. Tons of them this weekend. All right, this was one of my favorite parts of my dive on Sunday. This is I think is a rockfish, and then a school of his buddies hanging out. And I was pretty deep. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say how deep I was, but this was fairly deep. And again, I'm in my rebreather, so none of these rockfish cared. They were not afraid of me. They were like, hey, what's up, bigger rockfish? So cool to dive in a rebreather with the marine life. The other cool time I had today in my rebreather was when the stingray did a couple of loops around me. Here's another sheep crab. This one wasn't too active. I wasn't even sure if this one was alive, so I think I went up to it and touched it to make sure it was still kicking. And I believe it was. I think it was just kind of like, I don't know what this is. It doesn't sound like one of those loud, noisy guys that swim around, but this guy is kind of deep, and he's right at me, so I'm not going to make eye contact. As you can see, his mouth moved a little bit. So he is alive, and he's doing well, and he was probably afraid of me. Another all-you-can-eat buffet of lobster. These guys were tiny. Like, they were really, really small. One thing I did notice this weekend was there would be like one ginormous lobster and then a ton of little guys just hanging out. It was like he was the big bully who was going to protect them all, and they were all just hanging out. Another horn shark. By the way, about these horn shark and where they were at, on Sunday I thought these horn shark. I thought I was in the secret garden, but I wasn't. This was just in front of the hotel. In front of the hotel, it gets kind of grassy-like, and there were tons and tons of these horn sharks just hanging out in the grass. And this is not too deep. This is probably 35, 45 feet of water. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I think I'm just like, hey, this guy's kind of trying to hide in the grass, and I'm just going to hang out with it. And I think I accidentally dropped the camera. So sorry about the bad coverage here. But check him out. He's like, hey, keep going. No need to stay here. Here's a baby little sheep crab. Very cool because he's got all the kelp on top of him, trying to camouflage himself. And another horn shark hanging out just in front of the sand dollar patch. So I believe this is like 35 feet of water. This guy was hanging out, and then I believe not just feet away was another one. This one was a male, and the next one that I see is also a male. They're so cool, so majestic. Another banded guitarfish. So cool, so beautiful. Here's me being goofy. I was super excited about the dive, and I was doing my safety stop here, and I was just thinking, bummer for Mike that he couldn't join me, but man, did I have a really, really cool dive on Sunday. And as I finished my deco stop, I swam back into the shallows, and here is the stingray. Here it is. It was checking me out as I swam up, and now it's kind of looking at me like, what is this thing? And he does 2 loops around me, and it was so cool. He was just like totally either trying to size me up or just kind of check me out. He's like, what is this thing? It's quiet, but it's not making any noises like all those other people wearing black. Like, what is this thing? And again, it just did 2 loops. I followed it as it circled around me. And then I guess as it got tired of me, it turned around and peeled off. What a cool experience. This one was really big. I would say from tip of its nose to its tail was probably at least 3 or 4 feet. Again, it's kind of hard to gauge, but this was a big boy. This was definitely a big stingray. Take care, little buddy. So swam away from the stingray and continued my way, and I'm in 4 feet of water, and I popped up just south of the hotel. I hope to see you down below. Get out there and do some diving.